Today we will start with displacement equation of equilibrium, and then we will see how a particular problem can be formulated using that equation, and also by using the concept of stress functions which we discussed earlier. Okay. And in connection with problem formulation, we will see different application areas, okay, and some discussion on types of nonlinear problems. The actual solution, this part is only formulation part. The next part of this is actual solution. So that you know, to solve a problem, first we have to make a mathematical model. So that part we will be discussing there. The next part would be solution of that mathematical equation or sets of equations in whatever form it is, algebraic form, differential form, integral differential form. So whatever it may be, that we will see how we can solve that, and we will be focusing on these two methods, the variational principle and energy method. So okay, with this background, let us start. First one is displacement equation of equilibrium. Okay, these two slides we will be discussing. They are downloaded here. So let's go directly to these slides. Okay, so this is the first topic today. What is displacement equation of equilibrium? These equilibrium equations basically comes from equation of equilibrium which is observed in connection with our stress analysis. Okay. So you recall that while discussing on stress analysis, we formulated equations of equilibrium. Of course, this is the form where we have neglected body force and the inertia force part. Okay. Okay. And then you also note that afterwards we carried out strain analysis, where we formulated the relation between strains and the displacement fields. Okay. And thereafter we formulated relation between stress and strain. These are the relations using Lami's coefficients or Lami's constants. So what we will be doing today, we will express this equation of equilibrium in terms of displacement field. That means in this displacement field. Okay. The stress components, they would be expressed in terms of strain, and strain will again be expressed in terms of displacement. This is what we are going to do. Now let us observe first that the stress strain relations are this thing, epsilon normal strains. No, the stress strain relations are given by this. Okay, that part is fine. And the strain displacement relations, they are given by these equations. Normal strains are derivative of displacement field like this, and the shear strains, okay, they are given by this cross derivatives. Gamma xy is like this, gamma zx is like this. This we know. Okay. What is stress strain relations? This particular equation we are getting from the Lami's equation, and shear stress and shear strain, they are related by the shear modulus G, or Lami's coefficient mu is the G. Okay. And here we have an additional parameter lambda, which is the other one of the Lami's constant. This lambda and mu are Lami's constant. This delta is first invariant of strain matrix. Okay, that you know. Okay. So what we will do now? First, in equation of equilibrium, let us replace the stress components by strain component. Okay. So this tau xy, tau zx, they are simply g into gamma xy and gamma xz. Okay, these two are the relations. G is equal to mu. This is clear. Where from this is coming? If sigma x is substituted here, sigma x is lambda into delta plus twice mu epsilon xx. So here we have a twice mu. Okay, substituted there. So mu is there, twice mu and del x of this epsilon xx. And another term is del x of this lambda. This del x of this delta, lambda is a constant. So this is what we are getting. Okay, so in this equation, the terms it contains, they are the strain terms. So here we will substitute the strains by the displacements. So what we will get from here? This delta is, as you know, delta is epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z or whatever, and epsilon x is del ux del x. This is also known to you. Okay. So what will happen if we substitute the strain displacement relation in this form of equation of equilibrium? Then we will get this equation. Is it okay? Again, you see, this is the first term, we are keeping it here, the same thing. And then with mu, what we are having? Twice of del x of epsilon xx. So this is second derivative of epsilon xx, twice del 2 del x2 of ux. And this part is coming from this gamma xy. This is gamma xy. So we will get second derivative of ux with respect to y, and this would be del x del y, del 2 del x del y of uy. So this is what we are getting. And similarly, the other last two terms, they are coming from this. This. Okay. So this is what we are getting, and then what we will do, this del 2 del x2 of ux, there are two such terms, is it not? Twice of that.
Yes.
So we will express it first as del 2 del x2 of ux, we will take it with this del 2 del y2 of ux, and here del 2 del z2 of ux. One part is there, you see, this is the part. Okay. And then there is another of this thing. Okay. We are keeping it with this cross derivative del 2 del x del y of uy, del 2 del x del z of uz. This is the other part. And from this part, if we take del x as a derivative of this part, now what will be remaining from here? Del x ux, del y of uy, del z of uz. This is true, and we know that this part is our delta actually. That is true. And here we are having these terms, they are written like this. Okay. So this second derivative part, mu into this is written here. The same thing is here. And this particular term, and in the first we had a del x of delta. This delta is also this epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z, which is this thing. So this is same as this particular terms, okay, which is taken as a common. Okay. So del x of this thing, and now here we had lambda multiply here with mu, so it is becoming lambda plus mu into this thing. Okay, so this particular equation, now you see, this is the same equilibrium equation. It is the same equilibrium equation. We have started from here. Okay, and this equation now is expressed in terms of displacement fields. Okay, so and actually it has only displacement field as the unknown. We can take ux, uy, uz as the displacement vector, right? Corresponding to a displacement field u, whatever. So that way this is sometimes used to solve the problem. Okay. So this is known as displacement equation of equilibrium. This is clear. And in tensor notation, they are expressed like this. Okay.
Yes.
Because this is the delta or J1, delta and J1 are the same thing, first invariant of strain, right? Okay, this is clear. Now, if we retain the body force part and the inertia terms in this equation, then the equation would be thing like this. Okay. So in this equation, we are adding the body force part and the inertia force part.
That is delta square.
This grad is this operator, right?
Yes, sir. Del x. Grad is del x. And scalar multiple of
Del square del x2, this is
del square.
this del square is not, grad is first derivative.
Yes, sir. This one is del x, del y.
This delta u means del x of u. Okay, this del x of ux, uy, uz, that is mu into delta, right?
Sir.
Oh, this should be grad square, right? This thing.
Divergence of u means del u by del x plus del u by del y plus del u by del z. Divergence of u.
And grad
So grad means this one is grad.
this operator is grad operator, this del square operator.
No, sir. Only for del.
Oh, only first derivative is grad.
Yes, sir. So this.
So this is grad, right?
Yes, sir. Del
Okay.
x, del y.
So this is grad and this is divergence of u, is it not?
First invariant.
First invariant.
Yes, sir.
So lambda plus u, this part is okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And here mu into
Delta square.
this, here we should have this delta square, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is written? This is written here as a Laplace operator.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Huh?
This one is.
So if this is a Laplace operator,
Yes, sir.
then this delta u stands for this delta square u.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Laplace
Operator is this
identical.
is this is Laplace operator. So that way this is correct, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So anyway, I am not much accustomed with this thing,
Yes, sir.
but
This is correct.
I took it from somewhere, and so that way, that was the correct
sir.
expression. They explained like this. Okay. So this is the complete equation of equilibrium in terms of displacement field. Okay. But then there are some limitations. They are applicable when the components of displacement gradient is small. Why this is true? Why this is applicable when they are true only? Because we have used the linear expressions, right? Because previously in strain displacement relation, we used green strain there. We derived also for green strain. And for the expression of green strain, for that relationship of strain and displacement, this form of equation is not valid. And that this is clear. So this is applicable when components of the displacement gradient is small. So when they are not small, we have nonlinear problem. Okay, this is clear. Actually, that is known as nonlinear geometric problem in such cases. And also we will see that there are some material constants, say here lambda and mu represent material constant. We know physical material constant E, mu, G, etc. We can also use them. And those material constant also, they are linear. That means the relation between strain and stress, they are linear for small amplitude of strain. Displacement gradient means strain.
Yes.
For large strain, those material constants also, they became nonlinear, means the relationship between strain and stress become nonlinear. So that sort of nonlinearity are known as material nonlinearity. Okay. And also they are applicable for isotropic material. Okay, these are the limitations of this displacement equation of equilibrium. And that is why nonlinear problems has to be dealt separately.
Yes.
Okay, this is the thing. So this is basically our displacement equation of equilibrium. So now we are equipped with all the basics. Now we can go for the solution of a problem. And also recall the equation of equilibrium, they can also be expressed in terms of stress functions. Right? Because equation of equilibrium, okay, they can be expressed in this form. Let us not go into that detail. You see our stress matrix, right? So that stress matrix can be expressed in terms of the stress functions. This is a three-dimensional stress field, right?
Yes, sir.
So unlike Airy's stress function, what we are using here, what we have used here, some function or stress function in 3D, phi x, y, z, for which these are the terms. Let us see what it is. So although this is phi only, but this phi might be something like this. Okay. So we have to use a three-dimensional stress function. Okay, this Maxwell's function can be used. In that case, it would be our chi1, it would be chi3 and chi2. So phi in general has three components now. Okay, so it is possible. That means directly we can use the equation of equilibrium and we can replace the stresses in terms of stress function. Okay. And then the three equations of equilibrium, they can be solved if we can solve this potential, which is basically the stress function. Then the entire problem can be solved.
Yes.
Okay. And then we will be using this relation to find out our strain components. Then we will obtain the strains. The reverse relation, we have also seen this thing. Okay, strains in terms of stresses, these are the relations, and then from strain we will calculate displacement. So this is the reverse way of solving the problem.
Yes.
Okay, remember we obtained strain from displacement field, and then there was the other part also, obtaining displacement from the strain field. That is what we have to use in this procedure. Usually this procedure is not suitable for engineers. This is the procedure which mathematicians usually follow. Actually we discussed both the things parallelly, engineering approach and mathematical approach to the problem. Okay. But what we will be doing in our analysis, we will be solving mainly through displacement fields, unknown displacement fields, okay. And some specific problem we will discuss by using stress function. You recall our lecture on stress function, we had a problem, a beam bending problem, which we didn't discuss at that time. So we would be discussing that problem afterwards. Now we are equipped to discuss that problem. Okay, what next? Now regarding formulation, you see that basically we have 15 equations with 15 unknowns. Okay. What are these unknowns? They are the 6 strain field, okay. Then strain components are 6, stress components are also 6, and then stress and strain, they are related by 3 equations in additional equations. Here it is written in a different form, but you see 15 unknowns, how these 15 are coming. These are 6 unknown stress components, 6 unknown strain components, and 3 unknown displacement components. Okay. This equation of equilibrium, when expressed in terms of this displacement field, there are 3 equations. Okay. And this 6, 6 and 3, 15 unknowns. And then there are various other conditions, compatibility conditions are there, okay, for strain field, and these individual equations, they has to be satisfied as well, okay. And that way, if we can solve our displacement equation of equilibrium, what we will get first? The unknown displacement field, and gradually we can go for these solutions that we know. Now, in connection to an actual problem, the problem definition involves some problem specific parameters, right? Now, what are those problem specific parameters? Those are the type of the problem. Actually, it is defined afterwards. Let me show you first. These are the types of problems actually, right? The types of problems are bar problem, then beam problem, then it might be column problem, a mixed type problem, beam column problem. Okay, in beam there can be a thick beam problem. In dynamics, this is known as Timoshenko beam problem. These are nonlinear problems. We have discussed geometric and material nonlinearity, and some analysis technique for that. Okay. Now, other classification is 1D problem. This bar is a 1D problem. String is a 1D problem. This beam, column, etc., they are 2D problems, right? This axisymmetric problems, they are pseudo 2D problems in between 1D and 2D. Okay. Although the object is described in 2D, but due to its axisymmetry, our solution field remains in only 1D. Okay, this is a special type of problem, axisymmetric objects. Okay, then there are pure 2D problems like plate structures and various complications on plate structures. Okay, these are the complicated types of plate problems. So these problems, the beam problem, bar problem, whatever the classifications are, solution of these type of problems will be analyzed in another course, which is design for structural elements. Okay. Right now we will be discussing with a simple problem, say a bar problem, and then we will take a column problem as well, and we will see an example of a beam problem. Okay. There are more complicated application areas which you have to take up in your thesis work. In thesis work, you have to select some topic where still there are some research potential. Say, like contact mechanics is one such area. Okay, now we were discussing about boundary conditions, right? These are boundary. So what is boundary? We have already discussed in our preliminary lectures, right? You know that this is an interface between the object under study and the environment. Okay. So there are some features. For a 3D object, the boundary is in 2D. For a 2D object, the boundary is 1D. For example, for a general 3D problem, say sphere, something, ellipsoid, there is a surface which is the boundary. For a plate problem, the boundaries are the edges of the plate. Those are 1D. And for a 1D problem, if it is a beam problem or bar problem, okay, the boundaries are single points, the ends of the bar, ends of the beam, like that. Okay. So this is the boundary, and actually in the boundary it separates the environment and the body. So that way, say here what example is given, a 3-dimensional stressed body. What about its boundary condition? On one side of the boundary there is stress, the other side it has, again it has a stress, but this is say force per unit area. So on one part we have Cauchy's equation, on the other end we have equation of equilibrium. This thing we have already discussed earlier in our stress analysis problem. This is clear? So now the boundary conditions might be other than this force boundary condition. So this particular problem is a force boundary problem, but it is not necessary that we have to prescribe force at the boundary only. There might be some problem where the prescription of the boundary can be done through displacement field. So this is known as displacement boundary condition, and this one is a mixed boundary condition. Now again these three, the force condition, or this is known as traction condition, displacement condition, mixed condition, they are not the complete list of boundary conditions. There can be other type of boundary conditions. Say for thermal problem there are some thermal conditions. Let us not go into that detail. Okay. Now what is this? Some rigid smooth boundary condition. So that way you see at any point on the boundary, usually for such a case, a 3D body surrounded by the surface at any point, we have usually two directions, which is normal to that point and a tangent to that point. Okay. So these two, again these boundary conditions in two directions, they might be different. So depending on that, there are rigid smooth boundary condition is one such thing. So this is not a mixed boundary condition, what is stated here. Okay, this is in different region of the body, we have different type of boundary condition.
Yes.
But this is for a particular point, we have a mixed type. On one direction, we have a particular type of boundary condition, say a force condition. In the other type direction, say in normal direction, we have a traction condition. And in the tangential direction, we have a displacement condition. These are rigid smooth boundary condition. Okay. Say roller rolling, and on top of the roller we have a load. In such case, at the contact point of the roller, that boundary condition is rigid as well as the point is roller is moving, so that is also has to be considered in our problem specification. It is not pure rolling as such. Okay. So this problem comes. There are various types of boundary conditions. This is what is our concern, and also note that the boundary condition is also a part of your problem formulation. So it is not that the problem formulation involves only solution of these unknowns. So our system governing equation, so in some form, displacement field, in displacement field, or in stress function form, whatever form, those equations have to be satisfied, subject to satisfaction of the boundary conditions and the loading conditions. So what is not specified here is the geometry of the body. We have discussed bar problem, beam problem, etc. The geometrical definition, the loading of the body, that has to be defined also. What are the? So these things defines the complete problem. Okay. These are different types of boundary conditions. We are not discuss them in detail. Sometimes there are interface boundary conditions, other problems are there. We won't discuss them. Okay. Now there are some stress compatibility as well as the strain compatibility. We have discussed about those things, and you see ultimately we have these two types of method for solving the problem. Either from displacement formulation, where we have three unknowns, we have three equations there, and for stress formulation using some stress function, we have 6 equations with 6 unknowns.
What is the name of this condition?
I have to see that thing. It is not known to me as well. What does it mean is that this is a some function representation. Actually, what we will see afterwards, this sort of problem, it is not an ordinary function also. Later we will see these are some functional actually, and from that functional we will come to the variational principle, etc.
Yes.
Okay. So in problem formulation there is something more to it. This is only the formulation. In the solution part, as we have mentioned, there are variational method, energy method, a special form of variational method, etc., etc. So that way it is not an function itself, it is an functional, this in terms of the unknown displacement field. This you can say the independent variable, these are the problem parameters as such. Okay. But here U is the independent variable, you can say. This epsilon sigma, they are in terms of U, these are problem parameters. Okay. So that way we represent the problem. This is basically the problem formulation is included in this particular equation. That way you can say. These things we have discussed right now. Type of problem that we need to express, type of loading. Okay. So this is also important. Right now we are going or discussing for static strength problem only. Okay. Later on we will see there are other type of problems when this loading is not static in nature. They can be dynamic. Okay. In such case we have this vibration problems, or in certain cases we have a static instability also. Whatever problem, types of problem, model of. Okay, this is what we have already discussed, right? The types of problems. Okay, then the next part is this some nonlinear problems, right? So these nonlinear problems we have already discussed that they comes from various sources. For example, some are geometric nonlinearity and some are material nonlinearity. Okay. So analysis of those type of nonlinear problems in the domain of continuum mechanics and using an analytical method is quite difficult. And although some numerical methods are used for such problems, so whatever a software based analysis, what it does. Okay. So this is a solution of a tube problem, rupture of a tube in hydroforming, whatever, some pipe flow, etc., whatever. There are various applications of these things. Okay. In gun barrel, etc., there are so many type of applications of these things. Nuclear power plant at high temperature, etc. But what is understood from this figure, it's a FE analysis, finite element analysis model. So what they are doing, some basic idea of finite element method you will get through a coursework. But actual software is not limited to that fundamental. There are many modules inbuilt in that software which is implementing those nonlinearities, geometric nonlinearity, material nonlinearity, etc., which is not transparent to you, and that is not taught in your finite element course, is it not? You are doing a finite element course right now. That is also limited to your linear analysis of elastic problems, is it not? The same thing what we are doing here. So that way also analytical solution for such nonlinear problems is not that easy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are various problems. Analytical, mainly our coursework is an analytical approach to the problem.
Yes.
So what we do for the solution of such nonlinear problems, these are some of the pure analytical method, okay. But their applicability is very limited. We are not going into that. Then there are some approximate solution procedure. The variational method is one such. This method, energy method, whatever. These are some of the methods that we will be discussing afterwards. Okay. So these are approximate solution procedure. See, analytical solution means complete satisfaction of the governing equation. That means either the displacement equation of equilibrium or the stress function based formulation, either of them. And here this is not exact solution, but these methods has the potential to go for exact solution.
Yes.
So these are approximate solution procedure, and this is the complete numerical solution approach. One such is your finite element method. Okay. So they are close enough. They have certain benchmark solution. With that benchmark solution, they satisfy their formulation and then they solve for the actual problem like this. Okay. So our discussion would be, our solution procedure discussion would be mainly based on this thing, approximate solution procedure. Okay, next type of nonlinearity, geometric material nonlinearity coming from boundary conditions. So we have discussed the particular problems are some specific problems. This is a type of material nonlinearity. Okay, type of geometric nonlinearity. Again, you know how they are coming. coming from large displacement, large strain, okay, but, and boundary nonlinearity also we have just discussed something, mixed boundary problem, etc. Okay, now the remaining part is not relevant here unless we go for particular problem, okay. So the basic idea is that there in geometric nonlinear analysis, instead of our linear relationship of strain and displacement, basically we use this form of equations. Okay. Now you understand, substituting these equations in our stress strain relation, we cannot derive that simple type of equations of equilibrium, right? So in such cases, what is done is some approximation on displacement field is carried out. We make some approximation, and with that approximate displacement field, we test for the equilibrium condition. And if there are some error in that particular equation of equilibrium, you see this is basically that equation of equilibrium. Here this is formulated through some energy term.
Yes, sir.
Understand, in the left hand part this is energy stored in a volume element, total volume, and this part is the work done by the applied forces. And what is done on that, it is not the total strain energy and the total work done, they are equated. There is a certain symbol, this delta symbol is there. Here this delta means it's a variation. Understand? If we take the right hand side in left hand side, and if we express the whole thing within that delta operator, what does it indicate? Variation of energy of the system is zero. And from there what we get ultimately is basically variation of the error which remains in the equation of equilibrium. So this is what we will be using in our problem solution. Actually this technique is fundamental, which you are using in your finite element method as well, right? There are shape functions, ni, ui, then there are some other things as well. These are some boundary forces, right? Whatever this, there is a formulation, we will go into that part. Next lecture will be on that. So here the nonlinearity is basically strain displacement nonlinearity, and these are material nonlinearity. Various types of nonlinear behavior are there. When our strain magnitude is large, we will get these nonlinear behaviors. Okay. So beyond yield point, some specific material model we have to follow. Actually, this is for creep problem, strain rate is important. This is another very high strain rate. In case for polymers, this type of material behavior often. Okay. Rubber is there. One such material model is your Ramberg-Osgood. This is the thing. Beyond yield point, there is a certain nonlinearity. Okay. So these material models, there are various types of material models. These are something, okay. This is some model, okay. Something like this Ramberg-Osgood. This is another one. This is what we need to consider in material nonlinearity problem, where usually the strain components are quite high. So these are type of problems and the problem formulation part, that we have to show you corresponding to a particular problem. That is what we will be discussing next. Okay, let's stop.